Good morning. Welcome to Integrate 2016. I think this year looks massive. We have people all the way from New Zealand, Australia, a lot of people from US. Okay, I'm just going to give a quick intro because as you know, like 3 days, it's fully jam-packed. We are running back-to-back sessions. I'm just going to take 10 minutes before I introduce Jim, who is going to do the keynote. Just for people who don't know who I am, so my name is Saravana Kumar. I'm the founder of BizTalk 360 and a long-time Microsoft integration MVP. So people in the community might have seen us doing these kind of events for the past few years, so it's getting better and better. So this year, I think we collected some of these stats in terms of, how many people are attending this, this event. So this is how the numbers look like. So we have about 380 people here, so attending live. So this is about 80 people more than what we had last year. And we have people from 22 countries, as I mentioned, people all the way from New Zealand, Australia, a lot from US, and of course, plenty of them from Europe. And they all represented different companies as well. So we have about 187 companies, different companies here. So they've got like 1 or 2 guys from each company here. And we also know like we are doing live streaming this year. So it's live now. So the event is telecast live. There are about 60 people watching it live. That's what I heard from the AV team who is at the back. Okay, first of all, I need to thank a lot of people behind the scenes. I'm just a face of this event, but behind the scene, a lot of them worked with us. So of course, all the attendees, it's not that easy to take 3 days off plus 1 day each side to come and attend an event like this. So I thank all of you. And of course, the sponsors, mainly Microsoft, who was our major sponsor, and we have other sponsors like Codeit, Black Marble, and QuickLearn, who sponsored this event. And MVPs, without them, this event would have never been possible. Like, the 50% of the speakers are Microsoft, and the other 50% of the speakers are integration MVPs. So they again travel from all over the place. So we have people from Canada, US, mainly Europe. So Microsoft again, it's a great supporter of this event. So you probably know, like initially we were planning to do 2 events, one in US and one in Europe. And eventually we thought doing one major event will be better than doing 2 different events. So I worked closely with a lot of Microsoft folks here. So the entire first row is all Microsoft people. So I need to thank them for their support in their entire journey. And of course, our team, they're at the back. So you can imagine we are not an event management company, but they managed to do it in a really, really professional way. So everything we haven't engaged with an external event management company here. So it's all done by our own team. So they pulled together the entire event. In the last couple of months was very, very difficult time for us to pull it all together. Okay, I think this is something maybe you want to bookmark it. So just a very short form for the agenda. So you can access it from your mobile, and it's a very mobile-friendly, very sleek agenda thing. So there's also a printed one, but if there are any changes to the schedule, so that's a place where we will update it. So you can just make a quick note. And luckily, we have that interesting domain, BizTalk. For those of you who are using Twitter, I encourage you to use this hashtag, Integrate2016. There's already a lot of interesting stuff going on. I think these days it becomes really important to engage because a lot of people outside, they get the perception of what's going on pretty much live here. So, I'll encourage you to, just keep tweeting if you're into Twitter or Facebook, whatever social media you're using. I just want to, highlight, what are we going to do with this Integrate event? Like, we are just doing it year on year. And one of the nice things is, somebody need to pull the community together. Like, we've been, the last 10 years, we have grown from strength to strength. And we have seen, multiple different teams within Microsoft in the last 10 years. Like, that's one of our hard things as well, like to build up the relationship every time. So this year we have like a completely brand new team. So you're going to see them for the next 2 days. So what we intend to do is, keep going as long as possible, and, to do it as an annual event. Try to pull the community together so that there is, the place where, people like you can network for 3 days, and there's a lot of knowledge sharing, which is very important. And the whole landscape is also changing. So it's very important to have a strong community around. And we are doing it so far so good. So let's try to keep the momentum for the upcoming years as well. Okay, I just put this slide just to give you a context for the next 3 days. We all understand. I'm sure this audience, I don't need to explain about integration. So pretty much everyone is coming from some kind of integration background, and we all understand, things are changing dramatically. So it's getting more important, and also it's getting more complex. So if you look at, 10 years ago, if it was an integration conference, probably you would have discussed only BizTalk for 3 days. But today, it's not the case anymore. We need to discuss like 20 different things. So things like API management, logic apps, API apps, BizTalk, and you might have seen the deck from Azure, like the number of services they are releasing week on week, and at some point they all need to talk to each other. So that's why this year's event is a combination of so many things. We have people from product group, people from API management team, logic apps team, service bus team, of course the BizTalk. John is going to come and talk next. So there's a lot of things it's going to happen the next 3 days. And we also have an interesting announcement here. So we are actually going to release a physical book. This is our first attempt to give BizTalk mapping patterns book, and it will be available on one of the sponsors booth. So we printed this. We released it a couple of years with the ebook. So now it was so popular. We are seeing lots and lots of people downloading it. And it's written by Sandro, is one of the experts in mappings, and we decided it's a good idea to just print that book, and there's copies available in the booth. Okay, with that I need to I'm happy to introduce Jim Harrer. What is Jim? Okay, he's behind the scene. Just before introducing him, I would like to give you a very quick intro of who Jim is. Of course, he's new to the entire community. In fact, he's new to Microsoft. He joined Microsoft about 90 days ago, and I think this must be his first engagement. We've been working with him for the past 60, 70 days on this the whole project. So he helped us to coordinate the entire thing. So before, Jim is working as principal group program manager, mainly on the logic apps and Azure Scheduler and the BizTalk server team. Before joining Microsoft, he was a VP of product development at a company called TransBlue Inc., which is a $3 billion company, and he was involved in the modernizing of some of the business apps. I did start to look at, researching a little bit about Jim, and there are some really interesting things. He has co-founded CEO of a couple of interesting startups, and the numbers are big. He eventually sold it to. First question I asked was, why did you join Microsoft? It's just a bit of a surprise. I think one company is Starbase. It's eventually bought over by Borland about 10, 15 years ago. So it's really interesting to see people like Jim joining this team, because the whole world of software is changing. It's a huge pressure from a lot of startup companies now, and companies like Microsoft need to rethink the way they're going to approach customers, and having somebody like Jim I think it's going to be added value. And with great pleasure, I'll introduce Jim, who's going to do the keynote now. Let's give a